It's been a little while since my last collection pickups video. In fact, the last one was in December of last year. I had to go back and check. But I have been steadily adding things to the collection little by little. And there was one thing in particular, though, I wanted to make sure I showed you, and that is what I'm holding right now. This is a painting that was sent to me by a viewer. His name is Ian Last, and he's a UK-based artist and Jabba fan. And he got in touch with me and said he wanted to send me a painting just as a kind of thank you for doing everything I do here on the channel, which I thought was really cool. I was very touched by that. And beyond that, it's an awesome painting. Just look at all of these Jabba's Palace guys in here. Really well rendered. I'm really impressed with this. And, of course, Jabba there in the center where he deserves to be. If we look on the back, it says, "Best regards and a thank you for the great mighty Jabba's content. Ian Last, Suffolk, England, December 2021. Thanks a lot, Ian. I really appreciate it. And, you know, if you're a Jabba fan, and I think you probably are if you're watching this, I would recommend you follow him on Instagram if you use it. He's been posting a lot of cool stuff like 1/6 scale scratch-built figures he's been making for Jabba's Palace, and some cool wooden figures that are kind of inspired by some I have in my collection, including an entire sail barge for them, and lots of other stuff as well. So I'll put the link to his Instagram account in the video description. So my next item requires a little bit of explanation. This is not the item, but it is going to help me explain it. This is the vintage Bradley Children's Jabba the Hutt wristwatch, or one of them, I should say. I made a whole video about the different watches that Bradley made for Jabba several years ago. If you want to see that, you can look up there. But long story short, they made several different versions. One was digital, one was, well, a couple different digitals, actually. One analog like this, which I think is one of my favorites. They all had the same artwork, though, this kind of same green Jabba line art with the Return of the Jedi on his tummy there. Anyway, one thing about this is that it's very small. It is clearly a child's watch, and if I tried to put it on my wrist, it would look kind of comical, aside from the fact that obviously the the band will not remotely fit me. Maybe, you know, some people could get away with wearing this if you're very small, but certainly not me, and I don't think most adults could. So it's always kind of been in the back of my mind that it would be nice to create a grown-up version of this watch somehow. And one day I was, you know, just thinking about that as I do, and it occurred to me that there's a website, I guess they're Hong Kong based, called Arts Cow, that I've used years ago to make some custom pouches and I don't know, various other kinds of merchandise. You just sort of upload your own artwork and they can make whatever you want out of it. And so I decided to see what options they had for making a wristwatch, and it turned out that they had some pretty good ones that were very similar in style to this one. So I went ahead and uploaded a scan of this original artwork. I was able to find just the face without the hands or anything. Someone had posted that on an eBay auction, so I got that, cleaned it up in Photoshop a lot to get a clean-looking image, and made this, which is a much larger version of this same watch, pretty much. One difference is the style and color of the hands. You can see that this uses silver hands, but aside from that, it is a very close match, I think. Look at that. And yes, this one actually does fit me, although it's a little bit of a strap. I can't really do it on camera, but it's still a little bit small just because, I don't know, I guess I have big wrists, but it does fit if I wanted to wear it, so that's cool. Also, in addition to this, I saw that they had wall clocks that you could get with, you know, the same kind of artwork, and I said, Jabba wall clock, yes please. So I ordered one of those. Unfortunately, they sent them both at the same time, but the wall clock arrived with the face totally shattered It came with a plastic, covering over here to make it look a little fancier, and that had been shattered. Supposedly they are sending me a replacement. Luckily, you could fairly easily just sort of remove the plastic part and still have a working clock. So I think I'm probably going to get 2 Jabba clocks out of the deal in a way. Unfortunately, it still hasn't arrived. It's been weeks. It took like a month to arrive the first time, and then the replacement is still on the way. But this is reasonably good. I would say the watch, in terms of quality, seems decent. These are not expensive at all, especially for a custom watch. But it's not great, but it's decent. It's metal, feels pretty good. This feels less nice. It's plastic, basically just plastic with a cutout sticker on it. But from a distance, it looks pretty decent, and we can turn around and put a battery in it, and it will work. There we go. It didn't work at first because when the face had gotten smashed, it also had kind of smushed the hands so that they were conflicting with each other and they wouldn't move, but I was able to bend them back and it worked just fine. So that was pretty cool, and yeah, I'm really happy that I have some timepieces with this vintage Bradley artwork on it. Next up, I have a couple of plushes that I only recently found out about. I think they're Target exclusives. That's where I got mine anyway. They're called Star Wars Galaxy of Creatures Stitchlings, which is kind of a long title, but that's what they call this series of plushes. They're, kind of medium size, I suppose I'd say. And they have various Star Wars creatures in plush form. They're kind of meant to be subtly handmade looking, I guess. Here you can see the tag here says Kowakian monkey lizard, even though, I'm basically treating this as Salacious Crumb, but it's meant to be more of a generic Kowakian monkey lizard. And I guess all of these make noise. I didn't even realize that when I ordered these until I picked it up and kind of squeezed it a little bit. I didn't realize that they had noise feature, but they do. Let's see if I can get it to activate. Well, I kind of lost track of how many different variations that is, but 3 or 4 at least. So that's pretty cool. I really like this style, and I was happy to be able to get this. Also, in addition to several other Star Wars creatures like the Tauntaun and so forth, the Blurg, they also have a Rancor. A little bit of a weird looking one, I guess. Very stylized, I should say. But I like the look on his face there, his eyes. Pretty cool. And if we squeeze him, well, we get several sounds. Oh, there's a nice one. So anyway, these are the 2 I picked up, of course, but they do have several other creatures. Now, I was interested to compare this to the Disney Parks Jabba that I got, a couple years ago, maybe now. This one is also done in kind of a faux handmade, hand-stitched style. And even though it's not the same, Stitchlings line, I do think it goes quite well with it. So, I'll probably be displaying them together like this. Our next item is from the Book of Boba Fett. This is a tote bag featuring artwork from the twins, which I thought was pretty cool and funny. I mean, it's it's one of those kind of products that they have the same artwork on a variety of things like hoodies and t-shirts and things of that nature. But I thought the tote bag was kind of fun and unusual, so I got that. Really cool looking artwork, actually, although, having it all be in shades of green and yellow is a little strange because really, of course, the female of the twins should be sort of a pinkish, purplish kind of color, but that's fine. I mean, I think it's cool looking, and you got the same design on both sides. I'm sort of, well, I don't know. It depends on how many items end up getting released. Oh dear. But I am sort of, at this point, making a small sub-collection of just Hutt Twins items because there aren't very many of them. My sister, by the way, at my request, made me some Hutt Twins cookies for my birthday a little while back. So that's what you're seeing on screen right now. She had never heard of them, I think, before I asked for them. But, you know, you gotta have some fun with your birthday. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what else comes out for the Hutt Twins, if anything. They didn't play quite as big of a role as I had hoped in the show. I mean, there's a lot of things about the show, even though I liked it in general, that are a little weird, a little hard to understand why they made the decisions they did. And one of those is the way they handled the twins. But you know, I like the characters, so yeah, I would like to see them make maybe a figure of them or something like that. So I have a little bit of a confession to make for this next item. I don't own and never have owned the Power of the Force, you know, last 17 Han and Carbonite figure. I didn't have it as a kid. I've never had it as a collector. I don't know why exactly. I just sort of put off getting it when I sort of became aware of it, I guess, 15 years ago or something like that. It was still pretty expensive. I don't know, maybe $150 or something like that for a complete one. And it was a little bit difficult for me to pull the trigger. I don't love the way it looks, you know, compared to some of the other characters that I have bought, like Yak Face. I think is a really cool looking figure. Han himself is a little goofy looking here. Now, the thing is, nowadays, they can go upwards of $300 and even $400 sometimes if you include the coin, and especially if they're carded, of course. And it's just getting more and more difficult for me to pull the trigger. So I decided instead of getting an actual genuine figure, I would get a reproduction. This one is made by Stan Solo, who is, you know, seems to be fairly well regarded in the hobby. I understand that a lot of people have negative feelings about reproductions. I don't have that strong of feelings about them as long as they're clearly marked and you're not buying something, you know, that's different from what you think it is. You know, you don't want to be spending a lot of money and find out that it's a repro or something like that. But I think for people who don't want to or can't spend the very high amounts that a lot of these figures are going for, it's a reasonable option. Now, I would say the quality of these is pretty good. It's not quite up to actual Kenner figure standards, in my opinion. I don't know. Something about the feel of the plastic seems a little off. I noticed when I was moving him around that one leg works just fine, but the other one does not want to stay up. And I don't know why. And just generally speaking, doesn't seem quite as nice. But you know what? It's fine. It looks good on display, and it's way less expensive than the actual figure would be. Now, if we look at the Carbonite block, I think it looks real nice, actually. It looks pretty cool. Looks a little suspicious from the other side now that I think about it. Actually, you know, this is one of those things where you can take the Han figure and put him in there, and he'll be held in place by his crotch there, apparently. And you can sort of see him inside the block, which I think is definitely a cool feature. Anyway, I'm just happy to finally get one of these in my collection in some form, even though it's not the real thing. I'll keep an eye out for one of these, you know, the actual thing. Someday I'll probably be able to get one, but it was getting kind of ridiculous to have a full vintage Kenner Jabba display and not have one of these in it. So there it is. By the way, I also got this guy, and I'm actually going to be making a full video that will include him and the Black Series 6-inch version, and a little commentary about the upcoming Bibs Throne Room set from Hasbro. So keep an eye out for that. I'm not going to go into it in this video, but just as a little sneak peek, there you go. So that's about it for today's video. I do actually have more stuff, a fair amount of stuff on the way that I'm sure you're going to be interested in, but it's the kind of things that I'm going to be making into dedicated videos and not, putting in a pickup video like this. So look forward to those. Once again, thanks to Ian for this amazing painting, and do be sure to check out the link to his Instagram page in the video description. That's about it for now. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to support the channel and get updates and behind-the-scenes posts about what I'm doing, you can go to Patreon, like these Palace VIPs, Angelica Brady, and my other patrons have done. It's always much appreciated. Check out the link in the video description if you're interested.